We return to Middle Earth on this episode movie breakdowns. I have another Patreon request here from Luke. He wanted me to review the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings series that just came out on Amazon. This will be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's 8 episodes long. And before I get started in this review, I'll let you know if there's a show you want me to do or a series you want me to review, please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also, Patreon/Zakka for $2 a month. Get the cut in front of everybody, get your review out way before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's episode of Lord of the Rings of Power. And what is this show about? This show, season 1 here, is about Galadriel and her pretty much journey or voyage to stop Sauron. So Sauron has come back and he's conquering and just destroying things, and she's trying to stop him. He disappeared for a moment and she's trying to figure out, like, where is he at? He's out there. I'm going to find him. 1, for her own vengeful journey, and 2, to kind of save the world in a sense, but really it's about her vengeful journey, most of it. But you also have other storylines in here with people trying to figure out how to adapt and prepare for war that could be coming, or somehow survive a treacherous area where the orcs are taking over and you gotta try to survive and live out and fight a huge battle. So there's a lot of stuff goes on in this show, but the main gist of it is Galadriel's journey to stop Sauron. She believes Sauron's back. He has to be stopped somehow. He's out there. We can't find him, but she's going to find him and stop him because she feels like these events are going to come because of events that happened prior to it. Plus, she lost her brother and a bunch of other stuff. So she's like, I must kill him. He must die because I know he just didn't vanish. Like, she feels like he's there and she's on a journey to find him. And the things that I liked in this show, the music on this show is really, really good. I love the soundtrack. The series score, the season score is really good. And then there's a few characters that I like. Get some good acting in here, especially when you get to Doran the Fourth, one of the dwarfs. His acting in this show is so good. I mean, it is. I just knocked over something in the background, but it is so good. Like, there's a scene where he's talking to Elmon. He's an elf, a half-elf lord, and they're having this conversation about, like, how they haven't seen each other in years. And he's like, for you, 20 years can be like just a blink of an eye, but for me, 20 years is a whole lifetime. And he's talking about how, like, Elmon didn't get to see his family and didn't get to see his kids being born, whether his marriage or his wedding. And it's just a powerful scene. Like, anytime Doran was on scene, I lit up. I loved it because, like, just the acting and charisma and the way he was written and the way the actor himself portrayed that character was so good. So the music and acting in this show was really good. And there's some actors who I feel like direction wasn't done right. I'll talk about them later on, where I just like the line that was given or the things that they're talking about just didn't mesh well. And I don't think it's the actor. I think it was the writing for this actor and the director. The director had on face at one point. But majority for it, like, I loved it. And the story so far has been good. It's a lot of things that you've seen. It's come 2 negatives I have. It's a lot of things that, as far as story, because story is a medium point for me in this show, things you've seen that's been in other shows or other series where you have a character who comes out the sky and he's like the beast-like character. He doesn't understand what's going on, a fish out of water, but he's super powerful. And then you have a character who's like, I can take him. I can make him one of us. We can do this together. You have those characters. You have that storyline. You have the vengeful storyline where somebody's like, I gotta get my vengeance no matter what. Vengeance no matter what. And regardless of who gets hurt, to the point where everybody else is like, hey, we're not doing this with you. Then you also have the survival storyline where we must stand and fight and not let somebody take us out. And they're like, yeah, the people who are like, we don't believe in this. We're going to join the bad guys because we think it's a better way out. And you have other people who are like, yeah, preach on, speak your piece. You have my hand, you have my arm, you have my fist. We got this. To arms, to battle, to glory. Like, you have those things you've seen in other movies and other TV shows. So there's a few things in this series, in this season so far, that has been repeat storylines you've seen in other stuff. But the characters and the cast, to me, makes it better, where I'm more intrigued, even though it's the same storyline over and over again. In 2022, stories have been done years and years. Like these storylines have been done years and years and thousands of years old. So how can you revamp them and make them fresh? And I feel like the most of the story in this show hasn't really been fresh. Like it's stuff, the stories you've seen before, but it's a little bit of it's not fresh as in like 1000% fresh. Like this is something I've never seen before, but it's a little, I don't know what, medium fresh. I don't know what that is. I don't know, like, if I'm gonna say, if I'm put like a percentage to it, say what, 80% fresh, because the characters you're seeing and the characteristics of certain characters, you're like, I'm about this, and there's other characters you're like, yeah, you're my generic, hero that I am following to see if you can save the village after escaping a prison camp. Can you save the heroes and be the sole survivor? And that's one of my dislikes. The other dislike is the time. It's only 8 episodes, but each episode is like an hour and 15 minutes long. And episode 1 was, pacing on that one was super slow, and I did not get into it. I was like, this is dragging for me. And it's an hour and 15 minutes, just half a movie time, and you're not getting me locked in. But then episode 2 and 3, I was like, sitting up in my seat like, okay, it's game time, we're ready to go. If you ever played a video game, you're sitting back like, okay, it's casual, then something's like, the boss fight gets serious, you're like, let me get serious real quick. That's how I was watching the show. I think the time for each episode being an hour and 15 minutes long, the extra 15 minutes didn't do it justice in a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of it was filled in with just a filler and talking, just bunch of talking and exposition to get you to the next scene that really didn't help in some sense. Like there's episodes where you like, instead of a 5-minute scene, you could have this conversation within 2 minutes about like, hey, we don't trust the elves. We live in our own world. The elves are no longer here. We don't trust them. We're out. Leave us alone. Versus like, you gotta take 5 minutes like, the tree leaves are falling. It's a sign. Maybe we should trust the elf. Nah, man, we can't trust the elves. We can't be like your father. You saw what happened. We let the elves go. Now we're also living in prosperity. But this elf came here, and now signs have changed. I think we should go to arms and help the elf out. Nah, I don't think we need to do that. Should we have a vote? I think we should have a vote. Wait, we shall help the elf and take our battle to Middle Earth. Because what's about to happen in Middle Earth is going to come over here eventually, and we're all going to be entangled in it. But, son, if we go help those elves and the people in Middle Earth, the resources we can get to build our empire would be much, much more bigger. And those people in Middle Earth will look to us as people who can carry us. And therefore, we'll get their resources and we'll build our empire. Like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that didn't really need to be dragged out as long in this season. And making these episodes an hour and 15 minutes, you could have had certain scenes where it could have been 2 minutes long and it went perfectly fine. We get the gist, let's move on. An hour and 15 minutes was not necessary for a lot of these episodes. I think 45 minutes to an hour is perfectly fine. Another 15 to 30 minutes just not necessary. That's my opinion. That's why I felt like when I couldn't watch this show, because season 1, episode 1 was really slow. Now granted, this is season 1, so there are setting up stuff that add into the next seasons. So I am curious to see what happens going forward. One more thing I want to talk about before I get into the cast and characters is the twist at the end. I actually did not see the twist at the end. I thought that Sauron was the guy who came out the sky and he was trying to figure out, like, he got amnesia or whatever the case may be, and the little girl, not Poppy, but I can't think of her name right now, she was taking him on, be like, hey, let's be friendly, then backfire. And because the tropes have been done multiple times before, like, okay, this is where we're gonna go. He's gonna be a villain. He'll turn over and be like, I am the bad guy. Raise fire. No, he actually wasn't. Even the villains who showed up, like, you're a lord to save Sauron, join us. And then apparently they said the word that means wizard, and he's a wizard. He's a wizard, Harry. You're a wizard, Harry. But like, he ended up doing a powerful move, knocking these villains out, and apparently the stranger, as he's called, is a good guy who got shot from the sky, so we don't know where he's coming from, but he's gonna go on his journey. And the girl who's one of the Harfoots, which is a group of characters I've never seen in Lord of the Rings. Now, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I don't know the backstory of it, but the Harfoots And the girl who's a Harfoot is going with the stranger for the next journey in season 2. We'll see what happens there. And the other one is that Sauron was Halbrand, who's been with Galadriel since episode 2. Which, funny part is, Galadriel was supposed to go to like the White Void or the land of White Void. Somebody who knows Lord of the Rings is gonna correct me, so put in the comment, you know what I'm talking about. But you know where Frodo and Gandalf went to in the end of Lord of the Rings series, that White Void. Well, she was supposed to go there and she was like, bump that, middle fingers up, hop in the water and go and swim in the Middle Earth. One thought was like, how is she gonna get to Middle Earth? Like, I'm just gonna believe that she's this powerful, which they do a good job setting up Galadriel being this powerful warrior. So like, to me, I'm guessing like elves just don't have any weakness. So she's just gonna swim her way all the way to Middle Earth. Anyway, she meets Halbrand, and Halbrand has been with her this whole time. I'm thinking this kind of romance relationship about to happen here because once again, tropes. And then it flips and you're like, no, I'm Sauron. I've been with you the whole time, and together we can rule the world as husband and wives. Or king and queen. Galadriel, you can be like me, and we can take over everything. We can do the thing. And she's like, well, I want to bring peace and justice. Well, bringing peace and justice will be under our throne, and we can have it as is. With our power, they need somebody to control them. We can be the one. You know the whole trope when somebody's like, join me. Together, we can rule the universe. Together. And she was like, never. Kind of whole scenario. That's not exactly what happened. I'm paraphrasing and putting my little twist on it, but that's the gist of what happens. You've seen it before. But I did not see the twist at the end where Halbrand was Sauron. And I guess it's getting to Galadriel, knowing that Galadriel can help him get back to the Elven Kingdom to thus make the rings of power to then, so he can rule the world. But then he ended up leaving and going to Mordor at the end of the show. So like, he get the elves to make the rings, which is supposed to be a crown, and then he goes to Mordor, and I'm like, why did he was there at the place where they're going to do the thing, so why did he just stay there, capture the thing, and then leave to Mordor? But no, the end of season 1, he goes to Mordor, and Galadriel with Elmon, I feel like his name, and Celebrand, probably got his name wrong too, all got looking over the rings, like we have 3 rings, 1, 2, and 3 to keep everything. The idea to keep everything in check, like check and balances. Because they said 1 can corrupt, 2 can cause a war, and 3 will keep balance, which I actually liked that thought process of it. It's like, that's a very interesting thought process. I like it. For the most part, I enjoy the season. I'm curious to see what goes on for it. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Like, the movies to me never really captured my fancy. Even though I've seen them, I'll watch them, but it's never really been like geeking out about it and watching Rings of Power as somebody who's not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. So I don't have any baggage coming into the series like, well, these people should look like this, and this character should look like this, and this character should look like this. I just like enjoy the journey, and I'm loving it. I think the show was produced well. I think the character design and everything looked cool. It reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones, which we all know George R.R. Martin took it from J.R.R. Tolkien, took some bits and pieces, so we know how that plays out, that storyline. But I like this. I'm enjoying Rings of Power, and I'm curious to see what season 2 has to bring. Before I got here get into last thoughts, let's go ahead and get into cast and characters and directors, which I don't know if the directors are all the same here, because The Mandalorian, they have different directors on different episodes. I don't know if the show is the same. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the creators. Patrick McKay and John D. Payne are the creators of the show. Let's see, there's different episodes. I am curious to see what each episode is directed by. For example, episode 4 directed by Wayne Yip. And episode 7 directed by Charlotte Bransham. So yeah, there's different directors for the show. So I don't know, like each director is different. So it's kind of reminding Mandalorian as far as like, there's not a one arcing director for this show. There's different directors for different episodes. The series came out in 2022, so it just came out, and actually came out in September of 2022. The cast and characters, we got, starting off, Elrond, not Elmon. Yeah, Robert Aramayo. I'm gonna mess up everybody's name on this. I do apologize. Who played Elrond? I thought Elrond was a cool character. I enjoyed the elf guy. He was the elf character you follow who's more back home talking to the dwarves and trying to find a way to see what they're mining. So he's kind of going on this mission where he's kind of not betraying his friend, but he has this friendship that he can't break, but at the same time he wants to know what the dwarves are working on. And I love this character. I love the way he's calm, cool, collected. He's kind of like, he's a little bit of a, I don't say sassy is the word, but he knows how to play off people, and he knows, maybe he is sassy. I don't know, he'll have a certain smirk or a certain smile about his charisma. Is something that, like, as a character, like, okay, I like seeing where the dude coming from. He's like a good-hearted dude, but at the same time, he also has a mission for his people, and he doesn't want to betray his friendship for the mission for his people. And I really do enjoy his character and his story so far this season. Celebrimbor, who played by Charles Edward. Thought he was fine. He was there most of the season. He didn't really come, like, to me, he wasn't really a big piece until the end. He's the smith who can make, like, help forge the rings of power, but he is one of the smiths, like one of the most celebrated smiths blacksmiths throughout all of the world, all of Middle Earth. You have Cynthia Di Robinson, who played Queen Muriel. She was fine. She was cool. I like the fact that she went to battle. You know, I didn't think she was a warrior, but she went to battle with her people and ended up becoming blind at one point, and she wants to continue the battle. Like, she's, at this point, a one-dimension character who's kind of like, hey, this is my people. Wait a minute, there's an omen coming. We must protect our people. We must go to fight. Must go to war. For the most part, she is like any other queen character or character of royalty who's not a bad person, who want to do what's best for the people and ready to fight at any moment as well when it comes to the people's safety. But when she wants to make sure the people are safe and they're safe, she want to keep them out of war. But if it comes down to it, she'll take them to war. I thought she was fine. Owen Arthur, who plays Prince Darwin IV, love him. I love him. He is my favorite character. The charisma that Owen brings to Doran is amazing. Anytime he's on the screen, I light up. He's such a big part. The way he acts, where he's like, I'm not really happy about it, but I'm actually really happy about it. Like, thank you for, like, he's kind of like, I don't want to show his feelings, but he 100% is a soft dude in the heart. Like, just to love his character. Anytime Owen was on screen playing Doran, amazing. The scene where you first meet him and he's going against Elrond in the axe or the hammer smash, the rock smash competition. They're going back and forth, and the music that plays when he's on screen, oh, so good. So good. I'm excited to see where his character goes in the future, but love it. Love it. Lloyd Owen, who plays Elendil, or Elendil, say the name wrong. He is kind of like the commander of Princess Muriel's people, of their army and navy forces. He's like the dude in charge. He makes sure everybody ready to go. And he has a little storyline where he brings Galadriel onto his boat and then takes her back to his homeland. And he doesn't want to go to war, but he will fight for his people. And he has a moment where, like, he doesn't have his wife and he's trying to do gifts for his kids. And this, to me, I was like, it didn't make any sense as far as writing goes, because Galadriel asked, what happened to your wife? And he's like, the sun rises in the east and moon west, or whatever the case may be. And sun rises in the east and west, rising sets in the west, rising in the east, sets in the west. And he the moon comes up and look at the waves and all this stuff, and about this whole story that doesn't make sense. And then he goes, she drowned. And walked away. And I was like, what the heck was that writing? Who did this for him? And then there's another scene where Muriel's like, we will return back to Middle Earth to claim our land and claim this fight and win this war. Our battle is now over with these orcs. And he's like, we should just go home and chill. And she's like, no, you have to go ahead and do this. and because she can't see because she lost her sight thanks to this volcanic ash eruption that created Mordor. He's off on the side here, and Muriel's like Eldon, where are you? Where are you? And he's just like he's crying up. The director put the camera in his face so wrong that it just did not look right. Like it was for him. They didn't do him justice in the season, and I'm hoping they have better direction for him in the coming season as far as like camera angles, stuff like that. Because that scene, those two scenes, where I was like, "What is that gonna be a joke? What is going on here? What is going on here?" You got Markela Kavanaugh, who plays Nori. Nori is the Harfoot who finds the stranger, and she is pretty much taking him on. Like, she feel like it's her responsibility because she found this guy who has this immense power, who don't know how to control it. He doesn't know how to speak English. He's like just pretty much a lost soul, and she believes it's because she found it was her responsibility to take him on and try to, you know, make him a better person. And she don't believe he's dangerous. She just believes he's somebody who's lost. And her village is like, no, we're all Harfoots. We don't bring outsiders in. What she brings is an outsider who causes a lot of trouble here and there, causes some problem for the Harfoot village, and they're trying to pick up and move because they feel like something's about to happen, so they're moving the whole village. And because Nori like, this is my responsibility, she gets tasked with taking care of the stranger and put it at the back of the group of the caravan. I think they call it the back of the van actually, and she has to pretty much try to keep this guy from losing control and control him and get him to understand like, hey, you're a good person, you're not a bad person. And Nori is that character you've seen in other shows where they feel like they're responsible to take care of the wild character, the outsider, the person who don't understand what's going on, and she feels like that's her journey, her mission. And for the most part, she's a cool character. I'm curious to see what she goes with going forward. I just feel like her storyline's been done before, so to me, she didn't really add much excitement to me in the show. But as far as the character, she like the character was fine. The actress did a great job, but the character was just fine. The character itself just didn't really add much excitement. Morfydd Clark. I'm sorry I messed your name up. Who played Galadriel? I actually like Galadriel. I think Galadriel is such a cool character where, like, yes, she is the, you know, main protagonist who can't be stopped by anything. Like, I never felt like Galadriel was ever in danger no matter what was happening. I feel like she's the one who can take out any beast, any monster, any challenge. Like, there's a scene where she had to fight like a water monster, and I was like, she'll get out of this, no big deal. Like, she's gonna swim thousands of miles to land. She's not gonna have a problem fighting a water monster. She fought a snow orc or snow beast earlier. She's fine. Perfectly fine. And that's pretty much what it was. Like, she is on this vengeful journey to find Sauron because she believes that, not she believes, but she knows that Sauron killed her brother. So she's on this vengeful journey and nothing's going to stop her. She got powerful because of this, and she wants to destroy Sauron. That's her mission, her vengeful mission. And no matter what, she'll go back and find battle and find war and find fights to do it. She says she don't like it. She's like, I need to do this for the sake of humanity or the sake of Middle Earth. I like Galadriel. I liked her teaching lessons when she taught people how to fight orcs. Like, this was a cool scene. She's in a lot of cool scenes in the show, and I'm curious to see what goes forth with her, like what vengeance is going to consume her, and she'd do the whole, like, I'm going to join the dark side, or she'd be like, nah, you know what, I'm good, peace out. Charlie Victor, who played Halbrand. Halbrand was a cool character as well. I was intrigued, like, what he knew, because he was doing all these things where, like, Galadriel was like, you're just not a normal person. And then at one point, they made him the king of the Southlands, and then he was like, everyone's like, yeah, cool, he's our king. And it flips around where she's like, no, you're actually, X, Y, and Z Sauron. Like, well, he revealed himself as Sauron, not she was like, no, you're Sauron. But he reveals himself as Sauron, and he does go back to the Southlands, because Southlands get turned to Mordor. So technically, he is the king of Southlands. And, like, he was cool. Like, I thought there was, like, a romance thing between him and Galadriel they're trying to make happen. Like, Galadriel's, like could be something there. That's what I just picked up. They was always around each other, kind of gave each other a look, and they kind of just backed each other up. Maybe because he saved her from the water, which I guess Sauron's like, I have a bigger plan for you, so that's why I pulled you from the water versus just letting her drown. We'll see what happened with him too. Like, he was kind of around, and then he became a bigger piece at the end. Ismael Cruz Cordova, who plays Arondir, who is another elf warrior. He was the one who helped the Southlands. Like, he gets captured by the orcs, gets freed, and go back and help the Southland fight the orcs. I thought he was a cool character. I never felt like he was in danger. Like, he was an elf amongst humans, and because he's just an elf, he already knows like how to fight, and he's a strong, super character. I never felt like he was ever in danger. I never felt like he was ever gonna lose his life. But he was a cool character. I enjoyed his journey. It's the same as other tropes where the guy is like, I'm an outsider, but I'm going to help these people because I love the girl who's part of the insider group. It's that trope, and that's why he stays around. But he's just a cool character. I like having him in the show. Nazanin Bonatti, Nazanin Bonatti, who played Brown, she was fine. She was the girl from the inside who loved the outsider who was the elf, and they had this romance thing going on, but she's also a capable fighter. Don't not really sure why, but she's a capable fighter in her own sense. They, survived the battles that they go through. She was a cool character. She's the one who like, we gotta step and fight. Like, people trust me, get behind me. She's a leader in her own sense. She's the leader role who takes the outsider on it and join them, and that trope that you see in other stuff where the main person, one of the main people on the inside is like, we gotta stay and fight no matter what, we don't back down. That's her character. And then Tyrone Mufadin, who plays Theo. He is the son of Browen. Theo is, there'll be more to his character. Right now, he was kind of like a troublemaker, a kid who didn't really stay out of trouble. He finds a piece of a sword that's kind of marked by Sauron, so he gets this power. Well, he doesn't get the power; he just gets the mark of the sword on him that he can see like the dangerous stuff about to happen. Another guy has it, like, we've been chosen to support Sauron and stuff like that. And Theo's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stay and fight with my mom. And he thought he lost his mom at one point. And he's like, I'm gonna kill all orcs, kind of like Aaron from Attack on Titan. I'm gonna kill all Titans. I'm gonna kill all orcs. Can you see where his storyline goes? Him, Browen, and Arondir, they kind of just fall off after they escape Mordor. They kind of fall off, and you don't know what the rest of their storyline leads to. So hopefully season 2 we get more. And then last but not least, you have the Stranger, who's played by Daniel Wayman. The Stranger, like, he's the beast character, the person fish out of water who don't know what's going on. He can't really know how to speak, so you gotta learn how to adapt to the world he's in. I'm curious to see what happens with him. He's a wizard, so we don't know. I don't know who he is or who he's supposed to be, but as right now he's a stranger. He want to find out his origin, and Nori's gonna help him out with that. And then you also have Poppy, who is played by Megan Richards, who played Poppy. She's Nori's friend. She's kind of a big piece of Nori. She kind of keeps Nori grounded in a sense. When Nori want to do these things, Poppy gonna be there to help Nori out, but also kind of keep her a little bit of realism to her. She's a cool character as well. She was fine, and that's the main cast of Rings of Power that I want to talk about. Like, that was it pretty much. As last thoughts, it's a fun show. I had fun. There's things where I'm like, that really makes sense. Like, why, glad you're gonna swim 1,000 feet, but swim 1,000 thousands of miles, get back to a place of like, how she gonna survive this? So like a lot of plot holes about characters what they can do, but it's also season 1. And season 1, you want to set stuff up for season 2. I had fun. I had a good time watching the show. Episode 1 was kind of long, like, as far as like pacing wise, and just didn't grab me. But 2 and 3, I was sold. And I think if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, give it a watch. I think you would enjoy this show, 100%. Is this a Friday night series, or this is a series to binge? The fact it's been an hour and 15 minutes long, I don't know if you can binge it, but you can try. Honestly, it's like you can binge a little bit. I actually did binge it, to be honest. I actually did binge the first 4 episodes. I got caught into it, and then 5, 6, and 7, I kind of watched separately and then came back in the middle of 8. So it's one of those middle shows where you can binge, you cannot. So I'll say, yeah, you can try to binge it and grade time. I'm gonna grade The Rings of Power a solid B at 85%. It gives it 85% for season 1, a B. I enjoyed it, had a fun time. I think the acting for most of the characters are great. Then the actors go 110% in this. The music's great. The show looks good as far as design and character work, and the world building is already there, but they add more to it, and you get an idea where everything's at. I think it's great. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. There's just a lot of stuff where as far as time length lasts, and then the tropes that you see in other stuff are here again, so nothing really fresh and new come to it, but I had a fun time watching it. If you've seen Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. I give it a B at 85%. Matter of fact, before I go, let's see what IMDb gives this. IMDb gives it a 6.9 out of 10. That is a D+. And Rotten Tomatoes gives it 85% by the critics. So I'm right there, 85% a B, but the audience give it a 39%. That's an F. Good Lord. What? Why the audience hating? But yeah, I give it a B. I think it's 85%. So if you've seen Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below on that. See you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.